Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Samsung laptop. The charge port is having issues, so that it needs to be bent in a certain direction for it to work. So yeah, we're going to be replacing the charge port. Wow, this thing is very dirty and dusty with a bunch of crumbs. But anyways, let me center this so I can get some thumbnails here. Okay. Alright, and this is a Samsung model is NP730QDA. Okay, the customer already tried popping it open a little bit, so there are some broken clips here. These laptops tend to be very difficult to take apart, so keep that in mind. Well, more so the bottom cover is very difficult to remove. Anyways, first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the little rubber feet. Okay, so I just use my fingernails. You go under an edge, you can use a flathead screwdriver, and I just pop them out just like that. Okay, there's 4 of them, so we'll go ahead and remove all 4 just like that. Obviously you can use pry tools, whatever works for you. Small flathead screwdriver, although if you use a small flathead screwdriver you're probably going to end up scratching up the case, but if you get it underneath the edge and then just pop it up, you should be okay. Alright, so there we go. We got that one out. Alright, next we're going to use a PH0 or JS0 screwdriver to remove all the screws from the bottom. There's only 4 of them. I like to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. But for these screws, I believe they're the same. I mean, the customer brought it to me with the screws and the rubber feet removed. I put them back on for the video. So anyways, let's go ahead and remove them. To keep the screws in order, what I always do is I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for these. Alright, if this video helps you out, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their device as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Right? If you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. Other than that, let's go ahead and try and get this bottom cover off. Again, these bottom covers are always very difficult to remove, so if you use a suction cup, it's probably not going to work. Like, let me show you here. Okay, you can see I'm pulling on this and it's not coming out at all. And it's actually bending this. This isn't a proper ring that they use for this suction cup, so it's just bending. But anyways, these are always very difficult to remove. Okay, they already kind of had some clip coming out there, but I'm going to put it back because I want it to be like as if you were working on it for the first time. Okay, so usually what I have to do is I have to use a very thin metal pry tool, so I might have to go get that tool. I don't have it here with me right now. But yeah, let's go ahead and try this other method. Sometimes we can do this. I'll get my fingernails in the gap here, and then I'll push on the back with my thumbs to try and pop the cover forward. But this cover is very rigid, so it might not work. Actually, I feel it came a little bit out, so now my fingernail is actually in the gap, but that's not enough to be able to pop the cover off. Okay, so yeah, I think we're going to have to use the metal tool to get under there. Okay, I'm not sure how, if you don't have that kind of tool, what you're going to do. You need something very thin. You can probably use something like a razor blade. Okay, I did get my fingernail under there now, and actually that is working. So let's see if I can just do it all with my fingernail, because then if that's the case, you can probably do it with pry tools. But wow, no, this is very difficult to pop out, and my fingernail's just getting stuck in there. So what I like to do when I get a clip out is to look at it, how the clip is designed. So it actually clips and hooks underneath this front lip piece here. So if we can flex this, then we should be able to pop it out. Okay, so I'm kind of bowing the rest in that way so it pulls the clips away from the case, and that seems to work. Okay, all right, once we get one side going, it seems like it will come up. Also, I noticed one thing. I think the plastic here is missing. So yeah. All right, so we're going to try and bow it up. Sometimes you can do that with a suction cup. Once you kind of get started, you can see now I got a portion I can pull up in the middle, and it helped bow it upwards. Okay, and that's actually helping remove the clips. So there we go. Okay, we'll rotate this, and hopefully now, oh, the back is kind of stuck. So the back, I don't know how it's held in. I'm kind of wiggling the case side to side, but that's not seeming to help. Okay, you can see it separates at this point here. So we're probably gonna have to go underneath, and I'm gonna slide my fingernail in that gap behind the black plastic portion, and there we go. Wow, it's really dusty in there. Oh yeah, there's the plastic pieces that he had broke off. Okay, I'm gonna clean this up real quick. Basically, I'll use a toothbrush to loosen up the dust and an electric air blower to blow it away. So let me do that real quick and I'll be back. I'll see you guys in a bit. Oh, so dusty. Alright, I'm back, and as you can see, it's a lot cleaner now. I found the missing broken off plastic piece, so let me try and glue that back. I need to make sure I don't accidentally flip it upside down, so I'm holding it in the right position already. And I'll try putting a drop of glue on each. Oop. Gotta be careful, it's gonna end up sticking to my fingers. Okay, this thing is probably gonna be very difficult to try and align all three. But we'll see. Oh, that's a lot. Oh no. Oh no, I'm gonna drop it. I need something to grab it. Okay, good. I didn't accidentally glue my fingers like I was worried I would. Okay. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Shoot. How am I gonna drop it back into place? Sorry, I know you can't really see. It's hard to... Uh-oh. Now my finger's gonna be glued. Uh-oh. How do I get this in? I'll try with these tweezers. Okay, I hope it's lined up right. Try and push it down and hold it into place for about 30 seconds or so. I need a piece of paper towel to clean it up. Okay. Alright, since we got this here, might as well try and take some of this glue out, put it over here. Hopefully that's good. And now I use a piece of paper towel to kind of make sure that there's no left liquid glue on there. And hopefully that will hold itself. Okay. You can see on the bottom there's actually a lot of glue all in there. So we're gonna get that out if we can. Oh no, it's getting on my fingers. Okay, well, seems to be holding, so you can see that should be okay. Jeez, the fumes. Okay. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the inside of here again. We'll zoom out. Alright, so again, we're going to be replacing the charge port. So I got a replacement charge port. We're going to have to take the whole thing apart here. This is the replacement. Hopefully it's the same. The charge port is underneath here, so we do need to pull the board out. We don't need to take this out. Oh god. Okay. Anyways, first thing we're going to do is disconnect the battery. So the battery connector is right there. And the way you remove that, sorry, I know it's wobbly, but you go underneath. I just use my fingernail again as close as you can to the white portion of the connector. Make sure you're not prying up the black portion. And you just pull it up just like that. You can see how it just pops out. We'll work our way over to the other side. And, well, I guess you can go over here and do the same thing. But it's kind of clipped in. It's a little tricky. Oh no, it won't work that way. I'm just gonna get my fingernail under here and then push this down to lever it like a seesaw. And you can see it's kind of lifting it, and there we go. All right, so there's the battery disconnected. After you do that, you want to open up the laptop and then press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. All right. That makes it a lot safer to work on, especially since we're going to be taking the entire thing apart. Yeah, you want to take those 15 seconds to just hold the power button. If you want, you can hold it extra long, 20, 30 seconds, just to be extra safe, but 15 seconds should be enough. Okay, some people ask me if they have to do that step. I mean, if you don't want to take 15 seconds to make sure you don't destroy your computer, I don't think you should actually open your computer, because 15, that's the easiest part of this. Okay? Anyways, now we're going to go ahead and just start removing random pieces. We'll remove the fan first. If I didn't already mention, we're using a PH0 or JAS0 screwdriver. Again, you want to keep all the screws in order. All right, the heatsink we should be able to leave attached to there. I'm hoping I'm not going to have to remove that. Okay, because I don't want to have to redo thermal paste just because of that. All right, we're going to wiggle and pull that connector out. If you're replacing the fan, make sure you have it the correct way. Red wires going towards the SSD and the white wires going towards the fan. You can also see that the exposed metal pins here, they're supposed to be face down. Okay, so it varies from device to device, so don't just do with these pins always face down. Ooh, there's a lot of dust that was under there hidden, so I need to clean that up real quick. Okay, this kind of dust is kind of dark and brown, usually from like smoking or incense or something. Okay, I didn't smell smoke like cigarette kind of thing, so I don't know, it might be from incense or just some cooking stuff, but you can see that. I'm gonna clean that. All right, there we go. Can't really get everything off, but all right. When I first was cleaning it and trying to blow the dust out, the fan could barely spin because dust was getting caught in it when I was trying to blow it through this way. So yeah, just take the fan out and then you can clean it easier. All right, do I need to pull the battery up? I guess we do. Oh, this battery also is kind of going bad. You can actually see it's inflated a bit. The battery model number, if you're going to replace it, is AA-PBSN4AF. Okay. Anyways, there are 2 screws down here and 2 screws off to the side. Oops, sorry. Can't even see what I'm doing. So 2 screws here, 2 screws here. We're going to take those out and set those aside. Again, keep all the screws in order. There are quite a few. Alright, if you're wondering, there's an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD there. 1 screw. After you remove that, you can pull it up slightly and pull it out. I'm not going to take that out because it doesn't look like I need to take it out to do this repair. So we're going to leave that in there. Let's go ahead and pull the battery up. Oh, they did tape the antenna on here, so we do have to disconnect the antenna first. We'll zoom in. Let's go ahead and undo both antennas while we're at it. I just go under the tail and just pull straight up, just like that. Same thing with this one. Go under the tail and pull straight up. Okay. They taped it onto here for whatever reason, maybe just to keep it in that little groove. We're going to go ahead and peel that adhesive back, trying to hold the battery stuff down because you don't want to pull that up. Okay, so get as close to the adhesive, peel it. You can see it's actually pulling on the battery thing, so you want to make sure to hold that film for the battery down. Okay, peel, and then work your way closer to the where it's still attached and peel, and just work your way all the way down. And there we go. Looks like they put some kind of stuff so they can see that you actually peeled it off. But anyways, there you go. We should be able to pull the battery out now. So we'll just go under here and lift the battery up. And there you go. There's the bottom of the battery. Not really anything to see there. It's a little dirty, so we'll wipe it off. Okay, set that aside. All right, you got 2 speakers here. We only need to disconnect one, so I'm only going to do one side. If you're wondering why I don't just take everything completely apart on computers I work on, it's because there's always a little risk. Sometimes popping these out can cause the connector to pop out, and yeah, I don't want to add that little risk, even if it only happens in like 1 in every million computers. Okay, so we're going to go on the back and then same thing, just pull up. Actually, does this one have a front? This one goes from the front, I think. Yep. So this one you go from the front and you pop it there. But actually, you can pop it from the back as well. Yeah, it seems the front was just easier for me. It's easier with fingernails because I can feel exactly what I'm lifting. But if you're not careful, so let me pop this back in. If you're not careful, you might actually pry the connector off the board. So it's probably easier to go from the back here. Let's see. Actually, no, it's harder. It doesn't want to pop up. So I'm going to just go from the front again and pop that out. They do put a little groove there that's supposed to make it easier from the back side where the cables are coming out. But yeah. All right, and then the speaker, it's not held in with any screws. It's just rubber pieces, so you can actually just lift this out if you want, but I'm going to leave that in place, okay? All right, we got the keyboard connector here. Let me actually zoom in so you can see better. Keyboard connector here. We'll flip that latch. Once you do that, you can go ahead and pull this cable. You have to lift it slightly because the little wings, I don't know if you can see the blue portion, it sticks out a little and there's some raised bumps there. So you do have to lift it slightly and then pull that out. Here's the touchpad trackpad connector. Flip that latch and same thing, lift slightly. There's the blue tab you can get underneath it and then you can lift that up and use that to pull it. Sorry, I know my finger was in the way for that, but hopefully you get the idea. Flip latch for here. To remove this, it's labeled main because this side goes to the main board. Okay, some people call it Logicboard or Motherboard, whatever. All right, you got the 2 USB ports here, micro SD card slot here, as well as the power button here. So if for some reason none of that stuff is working, you might have to replace this board or this cable, or maybe the slot connector here or here. Okay. This is for the keyboard backlight, but I'm not going to take that out because we're not working on it, but there's a flip latch on that side. You also have the other speaker connector here, and I don't know what this connector is. I'm assuming it's another thing for the keyboard backlight. Let's see, are there anything weird? Oh, actually, that might be the fingerprint sensor. So I think this one is for the fingerprint reader. Okay. And what else? Okay, we got the LCD LVDS connector here. Very important. If you didn't already do the battery power drain, if you're going to mess with this cable, make sure to open the laptop after you disconnect the battery and press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds. I know some people don't watch the whole video all the way through. They just skip over and then they end up doing this without paying attention to my warnings and they fry their whole computer. That's not my fault. So anyways, we're going to flip this latch up. And we're going to go ahead and pull this connector out. So again, make sure you did the power drain. And then I'm going to use the bottoms of my fingernails to push at the bottom of this little latch thing and use that to pull that back. All right, so there we go. We got that out. And I think now we have everything disconnected that we need to. So now we just got to remove the screws that are holding this board down into place. So let's go ahead and zoom out and do that. Again, if you want to remove the SSD, one screw, pull it up slightly and then pull it back. All right, so anyways, we're going to remove the screws that are holding the board in place. All right, there's one here. There's one down here. It doesn't look like they mark anything to tell you where the screws are, so you're just going to have to remember or watch my videos or rewind the video if you forget. But anyways, they got these two little circles that have kind of some arrows to help you know that screws came from there, but this big one, there's nothing that really tells you other than it's just there. All right, we're going to remove this metal plate here. There's several screws holding it down, 4 screws to be exact, so we'll remove all 4. Again, keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. So far, it looks like all the screws holding down the motherboard are the same. The fan screws, they might be a little bit longer. Actually, I think those are the same. The battery screws are different, and then the bottom cover screws are different. So, yeah. The fan screws, I don't know, they have red thread locker on it, or Loctite, whatever you want to call it, thread locker. So, okay. And we'll take this metal plate off. All right, be careful not to just throw it all over the board. And okay, I think we got everything out that we need to get this piece off. So we're going to go ahead and slowly lift just in case something is still stuck. I'm going to grab around the edges And it looks like part of the headphone jack goes into there, so we do have to lift it at an angle. Make sure to move the cables out of the way. All right, and then after you get it up enough at an angle, you can go ahead and pull it back, and there we go. Ew, look at the dust stuck in there. Okay, and the bottom's not too dusty, but there's a little bit, so I'm gonna just brush that off as well. Okay, I'm just brushing it off into a trash can next to me, if you're wondering. Okay, so we got the board out. I'm going to set it off to the side for now, but we are going to have to pull the charge port out. All right, so here we go. We got this now without the motherboard. The motherboard is separate here. Okay, and just in case we need like a thumbnail or something, maybe. I don't know if this will even fit in the view. Whatever. Okay, close enough. Okay, or actually, if I have it on this side, I can have it over here. All right. There we go. Pretty much. All right. So there we go. Okay. Anyways, let's go ahead now. We'll set this piece aside. And what we're going to do is we're going to have to melt all these little pins to pull this thing out. It looks like there's only 4, so hopefully it won't be too difficult to remove. All right. So I'm going to go get a little thing to hold this piece up. But what you can do is you can basically have your table here, and then you have this hanging over the edge. You might have to put something slightly heavy on top. Make sure it's not going to conduct electricity and damage this stuff, or it's not too heavy. But anyways, we're going to have to heat these 4 little points here and then pull this out. So let me go ahead and grab something and I'll be back. All right, so here we go. We got this. I also have my soldering iron ready, heating. Okay, next thing I want to test actually is the charger. So the customer brought their charger, and I just want to see how much more, how much easier it is to fall out if it's like loose. So we got the charger here. Okay, I have it unplugged right now. I'm going to go ahead and plug this just to here. Okay, and I mean, I don't know, because it feels pretty solid here. I'm wondering if it's just a bad solder job. No, it looks like it's soldered well. So probably something internally is broken. Because it did charge like when I tilted it like this. Okay, so anyways, we'll move this aside for now. Let's go ahead and get the replacement charge port, and I kind of want to see how that one feels. So got this. All right. And here's the charge port, and we're going to see here. Oh, actually, that's way stronger. It clicks into place. Okay, so the old one didn't click or anything. It just slides in. Okay, so because we have the solder on from the top here, we're going to try and remove it upside down. That way we can push it down instead of trying to lift it out, okay? So I'm just going to try and make sure there's no dust around that area to make it a little bit easier, cleaner. I don't want to be burning up dust while I'm trying to remove this thing. Okay, and then these little pokey things help me just hold it up. Okay, so I actually had the company, they sent me this to do a review. They didn't pay me anything. They just sent me this, and then I was like, okay, yeah, I'll make a video. So I actually made a video of this a long time ago. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of other brands that make this kind of stuff, but yeah, so I don't know. I haven't tried other ones, but I have tried this. Oh, so this, because the holes, I like how it has this little ridge here, so I can actually just have it go along the edges here. So I'm going to use that instead because there's not enough of the screw mounts to line it up. Okay, so I gotta make sure. I'll line this up. Line this up. If you're looking for to buy something like this, I can look for it. I don't have a link off the top of my head. I mean, there's this little thing down here, which I'm assuming that was their brand. I don't know. It's been so long. So anyways, you can see how I just put those and it's already holding itself up. It's pretty cool. All right. I didn't even know this kind of stuff existed. So yeah, I know there's probably lots of other stuff out there that does the same thing. So, okay, now we got that. Let's go ahead and zoom in on the charge port because that's pretty much all we need. All right. And we're going to go ahead and desolder it. So, clean off my soldering iron because there's a lot of solder already stuck to it. And what we're going to do, actually, I might need to rotate this for it to be easier for me to see. So, yeah, I'm going to have to rotate it sideways. So, give me a second. I'm going to position this first, and I'll be back. All right, so here we go. Got the soldering iron, and we're going to just try and heat this. Okay, I'm most likely going to have to add some solder here. Yeah, I don't think it's going to melt. So, the ones from factory, I think they have higher melting points sometimes. Also because the board is kind of thick, it makes it hard for the heat to heat everything completely and keep it melted. So I'm going to add a little more solder here. Okay. There we go. And try and melt that into there. Looks like that's working. Okay, and having a bigger ball of solder there also keeps more heat there so that it takes longer for it to solidify. So usually that will help it. Okay, this is going to be a little tricky because this little bit in this groove area, it's kind of hard to reach. I have a little blob of solder stuck to it, so we're going to try and now stick that to this. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to heat that to try and get the solder to mix. And what I find works kind of well is you kind of push it down and heat it, and then you can see it kind of moves out slightly, and then we'll move to the next side and repeat. Okay, and you can see it move down a little, and then we'll go ahead and go on to the other side again. You want to make sure that the other ball solidifies before you let go. I can actually see that the solder here turns a little more cloudy as it cools back down. So there we go. Okay, and now that we got it kind of tilted forward, we'll work on the back 2 pins. Okay, you can see it move down again. All right, at least I hope you can see that. I don't know. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do the back ones now. Same thing, we'll heat the thing and then try and get a little solder on it. Okay, then move to the other side, same thing. Okay. And then it's a little awkward, the angles I'm trying to work on it. Solder into there. Okay, once you get like a little solder, it's easier because when you heat the solder, you can push the new solder into that melted puddle and it will just add to that puddle of solder. Okay, you can see. All right. Another thing that helps is using flux. Okay, so now that we got that, we're gonna go ahead and push down on the back while heating this. And you can see it's moving down a little. Okay. And then let that harden and then go to the other side and repeat. Ooh, that's hot. It will get kind of hot. because the heat travels through the entire metal thing, so be careful that you don't jam your finger into it, obviously. Okay, so we're just going to keep working our way all around. That back corner is having a difficult time going. Okay, so the back one's going down, and we're going to go to this little one. Okay, you can see it move down a lot. You can actually hear it click as it slips down. You hear that? Okay, I'm going to clean some of the solder off the soldering iron. There's a wet sponge that I have next to me that's for this kind of thing purpose. Okay, this one's having some trouble, so you see that? It's not budging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some flux there. I have this rosin paste flux. Just use whatever's for electronics. This one's kind of a thick thing. Some they have like where it's like a paste liquid. So I'm just going to add some of this here. This helps burn off the oxidation, okay, and makes it so that the flux or the solders can mix together better. I might have to add more solder back here. Let's add more solder. Maybe the stuff there has too much lead. It doesn't melt as easily. The other thing it could be is it's connected to a larger grounding bit of the board, like a big metal plate, and that's preventing it from melting further down. Oh, there we go. It moved down. Okay, and we're just going to keep going to all four corners until this thing is out. I'm probably going to have to add more solder there because it's getting too low now, the amount of solder. Okay. Melt and push down. It's moving. We'll go to the next one. Right, that'd be cool. Then again, go to the next one. You can use a tool to help pull this down so you don't risk burning yourself. But part of the reason I like using my finger here is I can feel how hot it's getting, and I don't want to overheat the board. Okay. So, but of course, there is the risk of burning yourself, so be very careful doing this. Okay, this front one is almost completely out. I might have to add more solder here. Yeah, let's add more solder to this front one. Okay. It's almost completely out. The back one is being a pain. I'm going to try using this to help pull it. Some tweezers, nose pliers. Oh, I'm going to need more solder. I can actually see it's not melting well. So we're just going to put a bunch more solder, and that might make it to where we can now pull it down. Yeah, that back corner is being really difficult. There we go. It moved a tiny bit. Okay. Go to this corner again. Felt it almost immediately go. Okay, you can see it's already, well, it's hard to see from the top view, but it's already almost completely out. This one, it's just about completely out. Now it's just holding on with a string of the solder kind of dangling down. Okay. You do want to have a solder pump to be able to pull the remaining out after we get this piece off. Ooh, that's getting really hot. Okay, I need to add more solder because this one, it's all just falling through the hole. Yeah, that one, it's being very difficult, and I don't want to heat it too much, so I'm being a little extra cautious there. I'm using the needle nose pliers now. Okay, there we go. Then we'll move on over to this corner again. I felt it already move. I don't know if you can see how low it is now compared to before, but it's way lower now in the socket. Oh, okay. Now we just gotta get the last bits. Okay, and now just the last corner. You don't want to pull too hard because you don't want to tear the traces out. And there we go, we got it out. So hopefully that kind of helps some of you guys that don't have like a heat gun kind of thing where you can just blow hot air at it until it completely pulls it out. I kind of wish there was a way to just poke the solder through and then make it go away. I don't know of a way to do that, so usually what I have to do is I use one of these guys. I don't know if I'll be able to show this, but I heat it, and then from the other side I'll like have this here and I'll just suction it. But for me to do that, I actually have to have it hanging over my desk. So let me see if I can set up the camera for you guys to see that. Alright, hopefully this will work. So I got the solder suction pump. Basically we're going to heat it and then pull the solder through from the other side, okay? So I'm gonna line this up here. We're gonna heat this. Okay, once the solder is melted, just pull that, and you can see now the hole is clear of solder. We're gonna do that for all four. Okay. I might have to add more solder. It's not quite reaching this. Yeah. Okay, let me add more solder to this one. Did it just fall completely through? I think the solder just fell completely through, but I'm gonna try and put a blob there so you can make sure to clean it up right. I've never seen that happen before. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and pump the other ones out again. Okay, once it's completely liquid, pump it through. There we go. There we go. And the last one. There we go. Nice. Okay. So next thing we gotta do is get the replacement charge port. I like to put a little bit of the rosin flux paste stuff into each one of these. Okay, because this helps make sure that the solder holds up well. Kind of want to see what the other side of the board looks like as well. I'll look at that in a bit. Well, let's see here. Okay, we got that in. Let me see if I can flip this real quick. I'm going to look at the other side. This should hold well. Let me make sure that these magnet thingies aren't going to move anywhere. Okay, so make sure that it's solid. Okay, I'm going to just flip this just to show the bottom where the port was. So this is what the other side looks like. Okay. There you go. There are little components on the other side, so you don't want to be careful. All right. Also, while pulling it, this thing got, because it's so thin, it bent a little, but it'll be okay as long as you don't bend it too crazy. Okay. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get the charge port in there. Probably would be easier to have for me to flip the board over to see if I'm getting it in the right place, but pretty sure it's in the right spot. Okay, you can actually see it's staying, because of the flux, it's actually staying in place on its own. But normally you're gonna have to hold it up. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit of solder onto the soldering iron. So this is kind of a somewhat cheat way to do it with the flux, because if you don't have the flux, then you have to basically heat the area first, and then while you're heating it, you have to push the solder wire onto it that has flux actually inside. So I'm going to hold this up to make sure it's not bent like it got when I pulled it out, and we're going to touch this solder onto it that's on the soldering iron. I don't know if you can see, but the solder just automatically went onto it because I put a blob on the soldering iron. I'll show you what I mean in a bit with the blob on the soldering iron. Okay. Okay, so hopefully you can see, but basically I just put a bit of solder on the tip there, and then the flux helps pull it into place. So make sure this one's soldered well. Okay, and the smoke is actually the flux burning off. Okay, which is why if you push the solder wire stuff onto it, you see the smoke coming out, that's the flux burning off. And once you stick the solder on here, there's no more flux in there, so that's why I put the flux here. It works a lot better that way. Okay, I'm gonna hold the port up again, and then we'll just touch that there. And you can actually see it again, it's burning off the flux. All right, make sure you don't breathe in that smoke stuff, it's toxic, okay? Okay, and now the thing is actually flat. Okay. All right, so now that we got these other two already holding on, we can do it the normal way. So we'll get the solder wire or whatever you call this stuff, and then while you're heating that, you push this into it. Okay, and it should flow. You actually push it into the component, not onto the iron. Okay, now I'm gonna hold it up again. Make sure that the entire copper ring around it is covered with solder. Okay, we're gonna do more on this side as well. Okay, and the last one now. All right. All right, looks good. So we're done now. I'm just going to clean up my soldering iron and tin the tip. Basically just put solder onto the tip to make sure that it doesn't get all oxidized. Okay. I'm just doing that off camera, sorry. Okay, we'll set the soldering iron aside now, and we'll put away the flux and everything, okay? All right, so we got the thing soldered into place. we're going to use a little isopropyl alcohol paper towel to clean it up. Okay. So we'll use some isopropyl alcohol just on a piece of paper towel here. Okay. Just put some on there. And then we'll just wipe this stuff away, the flux. Just like that. Make sure it's nice and clean. Also, make sure you're using electronics flux because there's stuff like for plumbing and things. And that kind of stuff you actually, if I'm not mistaken, what it is like there's acid in there. And it can cause it to corrode if you leave it in there. So, if you don't clean it up really well. So, I don't know. At least that's from my understanding. I don't know I'm not an expert on soldering. Most of the stuff I taught myself, so. Alright. Clean off all the gross gunk that's over there. Alright, just try it up. Alright, and there you go. You can see the charge port all nice, hopefully. Okay, there you go. Alright, so let's go ahead now and reassemble this thing, and hopefully everything's good to go. Alright, and just in case you wanted to see the other side, this is what it looks like. Okay, actually a lot of solder came through this hole and then went up a little bit around the curve of the metal piece. But anyways, that should be good. Let's go ahead and reassemble this thing. Oh, there's actually some hairs and junk stuck in the ports area. So I should probably clean that real quick. All right. Let me make sure this is good. All right, let's go ahead now and reassemble this. The tricky part is all these cables are going to be in the way, so you have to make sure to lift them up as you go ahead and put the board and everything back in, okay? So when you go to put this, again, you do have to go at an angle because this gets tucked under there. Actually, let me clean this out a little bit. Okay. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get this back in. Again, there are a lot of cables that go underneath, so make sure that they're out of the way. Then you go to put this back. The keyboard one might be a little tricky. Hold that up out of the way. Okay, it goes in at an angle. Slowly lower it down. Again, other cables might be under there, so make sure that they are on top. Okay, slowly lowering it down. And it looks good. Make sure all the ports line up. They do look good. Okay, so next thing we gotta do, obviously, is just put all the screws back in. So we'll zoom in here. We'll take this metal plate, put that back on top. Okay, and we'll get these screws back in. I'm going to loosely fit the screw first. Don't tighten it all the way down until we get all four in. The reason I do that is to make sure everything is lined up properly. Okay, so we got those four in. Let's go ahead and do the other three. So we have this one up here, this one over here, and actually this design, oh, is it hitting something? Okay. This design, they have these little plastic raised bits here and here in the corner to help make sure things are aligned. But I like to be extra sure. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and now tighten everything down. Make sure you don't forget any of them. There's 3 in the board itself, and then there's 4 holding this side with the metal plate. Okay, so we'll go ahead and tighten those all down. Alright, there we go. All the screws are now tightened down. Let's go ahead and put in the fan. Very simple, just line it up here. Make sure this connector, again, the metal pins are face down. I like to pinch both pieces together like this so that the solder joints on the board aren't taking all the force. All right, we'll get that. And we'll go ahead and now get the 3 screws in. Again, I'm going to loosely fit them first. Although this design also has these raised things that make it so it doesn't really wobble much. It wobbles a tiny bit. I like to pull this up to the heatsink, okay, and then tighten it down. If you're wondering how to remove this board, it's just a few more screws here, and then all these connectors. Again, I'm not taking those out, but there's a flip latch for the keyboard backlight here, flip latch for this on this side, flip latch on this side for this connector, and flip latch on this side for this connector. Oh wait, I just noticed, okay, the power button is its own connector here, flip latch, so that's nice. If you break the power button, it looks like you take this one screw out, you can actually take this whole power button thing out. This is just a plastic, so the board is attached to the back of this piece here. Okay, let's go ahead and continue reconnecting everything, and then we'll go ahead and do the battery. Okay, so we'll attach this cable to the main board, flip that latch, make sure it's up, get the cable in. A lot of times you have to go in at an angle, okay, and make sure that's in all the way. And then while you're kind of making sure to hold it in, actually there's also this little tab you can use to kind of help hold it in. So just slide your finger over to latch it down. Okay, we got this connector for the touchpad. You have to tilt it down, so it really helps to use the little blue tab here. So grab the blue tab and then tilt it downwards. Get that into the slot, and then once you get it in, hold it in place and slide your finger over to latch it down. Okay, keyboard connector over here. Same thing, there's a blue tab, it's just a lot shorter, so you can use that, although just the bowing of the connector helps tilt it at that angle, and then you can use that blue tab to push it in all the way, and then slide your finger over to latch it down. Alright, speaker cable over here. Oops, let me move something out of the way. Alright, so speaker connector over here, you do have to make sure it's tucked under this. Then you just line it up. We already pushed it back in last time, but basically just push it straight down. Make sure both sides do go all the way down and it's flush, okay? Then we got the black antenna wire here. The way I get these is I kind of just wiggle it around on top, and then it will actually, you can see how it kind of latched. Once it's like that, you just push straight down on top, and that's it, okay? Don't forget the LCD LVDS connector here. If you accidentally plug the battery in, you do need to do the battery drain before you plug this cable back in, okay? So now we'll get this, line it up, and then pull it. Again, using the bottoms of this latch. You can also use the little part where the latch kind of goes into the connector, and then just push that latch down to lock it in. Alright, now we just need to put the battery back in. I think we got all the other connectors in. Make sure, double check one more time. Make sure you didn't leave anything disconnected. Looks good. Alright, so we'll just drop the battery back into place like this. Make sure that you're holding this out of the way. You can actually go ahead and now just line this up and tape these back down. So again, hold that into place and then tape that back down. Okay, just like that. And then this antenna wire, same thing. Okay, I just wiggle it around on top with a slight pressure on it, and you can see it kind of will hook into place when it's in the right spot. And then you know you can go ahead and click it down. Make sure you don't try and push it down if it's not in the right place, because then you will destroy the connector either to the wireless card or this. And the wireless card is built into the motherboard, so if you destroy that, you're pretty much screwed. You'd have to replace the whole motherboard. I don't know of anybody that replaces that chip. There are places probably that do it, but it's going to be so expensive, it's not going to be worth it. I think the replacement board will probably be cheaper unless there's like none available. Okay, anyways, we'll go ahead and get the screws for the battery back in. That one, this one, this one, and the last last screw here. All right, at this point we can plug it in and just make sure it works. So we'll go ahead and get the plug, and we'll just plug it in over here. It clicks in nice. And where's the light? Is there a light here? Nope, it's on the inside, I think. So, oh, I didn't plug in the battery, but let's go ahead and see if it turns on without the battery. I'm curious. Push the power button, and nothing. Does it not power on without the power or without the battery? So it looks like there's no life without the battery, unless it needs to be bent a certain way. Does the charger still need to be bent a certain way, or did I not plug in the charger? No, it's plugged in. Okay, it's turning on. So okay, it doesn't need to be bent a certain way. It's turning on. I don't have the battery plugged in. You can see it's turning on, and oops, and I'm wiggling the charger and it's staying on. So we are good. The charge port is repaired. I'm pulling on it slightly and it's staying good. All right, so oops. Okay, anyways, I gotta hide that because I don't want the customer stuff seen. Usually after any big hardware changes, I highly recommend restarting the computer one time. Right now I'm going to shut it down, reconnect the battery, and then we'll put the cover on and do all of that. So here we go. Let's go ahead now and zoom in so you can see the battery connector. To reattach it, very simple, just line it up. Make sure these both side edges line up with the notches in the connector, and then just push it down. There you go, very simple. Again, I do recommend the customer replaces the battery because it is puffing up. Usually it's not going to harm anything. I don't think I've seen any puffy batteries harm the computer, but eventually it will just stop charging completely. Sometimes what I see is it pushes on the back of the touchpad and things like that. Not specifically on this model, but other ones I've seen, and that causes it to cause some damage. But anyways, we're just going to go ahead and push this back down now. You have to kind of push in the center as you push down to get the clips to go back in, because if you remember, it kind of hooks underneath. Okay, so push that back like that. All right, and everything looks good. Now we just got to get the bottom case screws in and the rubber covers, and we're good to go. All right, so that's pretty much all there is to it. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And again, if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Again, if you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. I also have another channel called It's Been Reviewed and More. Same profile picture, but zoomed in because it's a close look at things. Currently, those videos are on this channel as well, but eventually I'm only going to be uploading the new ones to that channel for review videos. So if you like watching my review videos, or you just really want to help me out, I'd really appreciate if you'd subscribe there and then just comment on random videos over there. All right, anyways, we're going to put the rubber feet back in. So what you do is, all right, just go ahead and line it up. Usually I'll get one side in first, and then you push kind of forward into the middle and down, and you can see it just goes in. So we'll do the same thing with all the other ones. Put one corner or one edge in first, and then go up and push like that, and you can see it just goes in very easily. Okay, so again, that's pretty much it. We'll just do the last few things: power it up, restart the computer, and that's all there is to it. All right, again, hopefully this video helped you guys, and I'll see you on the next one, hopefully. All right, anyways, there we go. Make sure that's in. We'll flip this guy back over, and we'll just power it back up. Oh, and he should probably take the, if you heard that crackly sound, you should take that plastic stuff off. I'm going to take it off. So this, you can actually peel these things off. All right, they're not supposed to stay on there. Oh, the plastic turned too brittle now from being on there for so long. So yeah, you don't want to leave this stuff on there. It's not supposed to stay on there. Okay, so I'll take out on both sides. Hopefully he didn't like that plastic gunk on there. Anyways, we're going to take that out. Okay. Flip it over and peel it off. Oh, there's some adhesive, that's why. Alright, there we go. And it's a little dusty underneath, so we'll brush it. I tried brushing the keyboard and blowing the dust out. You can see there's gunk stuck to it. That I'd have to, like, I don't know, wash it with some liquid or something. But alright. Wow, that he left it so long it left like dots of dirt on it. Okay. Anyways, there we go. We'll go ahead and power this thing back up, and then we'll restart the computer. You can see it's working perfectly fine. Got the blue dot, and also I can unplug it now. It was charging for a little while. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty much it. It's booting up. Thanks for watching again. Again, one more thing is to restart the computer. Replacing the charge port won't be detected by the computer, so a restart's not that important, but I like doing it anyways. You can actually see it is charging. Okay, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and now just do a restart. So go down here and do a restart. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, let's drop this. Bye.